Folks, Lego and Star Wars is like peanut butter and jelly to me. You can tell from the big Millennium Falcon in that case to my right, which cost me 1/18th of the cost it is to give birth in the US. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Lego video games, baby. Growing up like many others, Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga was my childhood, and a game that I occasionally come back to here and there, even now. This game came out in 2007, and since then, fans have just been waiting for years and years for when TT Games would do a game with all 9 movies, plus a little sprinkle of little shows in there, into one big Star Wars game. Until June 10th, 2019, when we got an announcement trailer for Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, which will release in 2022. The game got delayed a lot. Once the game did release, I immediately went to my GameStop, picked up the game, played the hell out of that game, played it here and there to go through the free roam and the free play, and then I just never touched it again. And let me tell you, Skywalker Saga was my most anticipated game ever. I've never been this anticipated for a game since Smash Bros. Ultimate or like Miitopia for when it came out on the Switch. Not only that, but it was the only game I've ever pre-ordered so far, and now I'm saying that I've never touched it since the year it released? Actually no, because in July 2023, Steam had a massive sale on all the Lego games, and one of those being the Skywalker Saga, and me and my friend, also a great friend of the channel, wanted to play the game on online co-op, only to be disappointed in finding out that there wasn't. But that's okay, because now it gives me an excuse to play the game again. So I went through it as usual, started on episode 1, played a little bit, maybe halfway through it, and then I just never touched it again after that. So that's twice now that my most anticipated game ever has had me play the game, then never pick it up again for a longer period of time than I would have thought if you would tell me this before the game came out. But why is that? So I decided to see some reviews, and I kind of do agree with what some people are saying now that the game's been out for a few years. And all this thinking got me reflected of my past playthroughs. So now I decided that I want to play through the whole game again. I want to go through all 9 episodes, want to dabble in the free play and free roam, and to tell you why Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga is a fun, yet very frustrating game. Before getting into the thick of it though, I want to talk about how much I paid for this game. I bought the deluxe edition, not just the regular, the deluxe, because it came with some cool things, and I wanted the cool things. Plus, it's a game that I've been waiting for a lot, so I want to make this memorable. Not only did it come with the game, but it came with this cool slip over of Darth Vader, DLC character bundles from various shows, a Han Solo Carbonite steelbook, but my copy never came with it. It also came with a polybag of Poe Dameron's X-Wing from episode 9, and the one from episode 7 and 8 because they still had extra, but most importantly was the exclusive figure that came with the game, being a Luke Skywalker with a blue milk mustache. And I know most people wanted like a different exclusive minifigure to make it like really memorable instead of like a Luke Skywalker, because during that year there was a lot of sets that came out with Luke Skywalker. But I think they were looking at it from the standpoint of like, hey, it's a really recognizable character, really iconic, and they made jokes about the blue milk mustache in the game, so why not have it out for this little goofy fun comedy game to have a blue milk mustache, because they're never gonna do that again. I think they were thinking they'd rather have that outcome versus one where it's like only some people know while the rest of people are like, who the fuck is Glup Shido? I'd say it was kind of worth it. It was worth it to get the minifigure. It was also worth it to get like, you know, some poly bags without having to like go and look for them, and then also just buying the DLC characters that look great in the game, and just so that I don't have to think about maybe like ordering it later on, I just have it now. Moving on to the game, I'll have footage of my playthrough throughout the game playing behind me, just letting you know I don't have my initial playthrough of episodes 1 through 4 and also 5. I do have a little bit of 6, and then after that I do have rest of the footage of, though unfortunately my initial playthrough of my free play also got corrupted, so, or it just got lost. So hey guys, editing me, I thought I should actually explain why I didn't record episodes 1 through 5 initially. Well, it's because the software with my camera and OBS do not like each other specifically for this game for some reason. So whenever I would go to record it, it would like kind of bug out. So what I'm trying to say is you guys see this, whereas I see this the whole time here and there. It didn't do this all the time. It mostly did it when I was in space or I was in the loading zones. But other than that, it was pretty much fine. So that's why I kind of just said screw it and played on throughout the whole game with it. But yeah, just thought I should let you guys know. Back to the video. There are some moments that I tried to re-record and recapture that moment as an example, so hopefully, you know, it looks good. But without further ado, I'm going to set up the scene. Already sweat through the last shirt, so now I gotta change it to a different one. Starting with the pros, I feel like the first one I have to mention right off the bat is that the graphics on this game look amazing. They look great. Whether you're on the starting levels like the Tantive Eve or you're walking around Coruscant, everything that is there just looks great. Mind you, my first time playing through this game was on the Switch, and then playing it on here, it's like a huge night and day. I didn't even realize how big of a difference it was till I played it on here. Not only that, but I feel like the humor and the comedy in this game also hit pretty good as well, but not in the ways that I would have expected it. When I didn't expect something to be comedic or referencing a meme, that's where it got me to laugh or chuckle at the most. Yes, seeing the countless memes, especially the ones from the prequels, were nice, but I did feel like some of them hit and miss. One of the most notable ones I kind of missed for me was the one with the joke about Han and Greedo and who shot first. Honestly, I thought it would have just been better if it just had Greedo walking up and then Han just shooting out of nowhere. You could have done that. The hello there meme was also pretty interesting, the way they tackled it with Obi-Wan dancing. Whoa, did Grievous just fucking dab? But again, it's the bits that I wasn't expecting that got me. For example, in the starting cutscene of episode 1, when Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are asking to board the Trade Federation battleship, instead of just the new gun Ray just talking to them, you got Emperor Palpatine just in the background by accident, which it caught me off guard. I laughed. They used Jar Jar pretty well in this game. Young Anakin stealing this guy's ship was pretty funny as well. And I feel like you can't forget the opening cutscene to episode 3.
I never thought I'd make it to retirement, but here...
And surprisingly, that's just the prequels that got me. There's Chewie cutting off this poor Imperial officer.
Well, hello there. What can I do for you today?
There's Luke shooting those stormtroopers after Ben Kenobi dies, but then it just goes to him shooting ducks off top of stormtroopers. That was pretty good. That was funny. I just realized I had my headphones on the whole time. And then finally, there's a cutscene of 3PO getting a mop on top of his head, and Lando just starts hitting on him, which I think is so funny because it just fuels that theory that Lando fucks droids on the down low. And then the sequels, they had Claude, and I feel like I should also talk about the roster of characters. Though I do have my complaints that I'll save later on in the video at the end. It was nice to see some of those characters be in a updated version to get for the first time. It was also nice to play as characters that have been originally locked by DLC in past games, but now I have the opportunity to play them because they're no longer locked by that DLC barrier. Just want to mention just a few characters, just random ones. You got Yario Poof, you got Mr. Bones, which is a deep cut. There's also Han Solo and Carbonite. You can play as Jabba the Hutt without DLC finally. There's the Rancor. I had to go to a different planet. He was too big for Camino. Wait, hold on. Can't forget about Claude. But honestly, the best part of the game was me not taking it seriously or not playing it how the game wanted me to play it as. For example, when I took on my first Dreadnought, I could have taken it on as any blaster or lightsaber character, but where's the fun in that? How about I take it on as Jabba the Hutt, which I did. I did do that. And in the episode 5 boss fight between Vader and Luke, I could have fought Vader as Luke, but did you know you can fight as the droids now? So why not I just fight him as R2? I think that's fun because I could just do this. I could just do this the whole time. What are you gonna do about it? I could do it to any other boss fight too if I want to. And then he kicks him. That's pretty fucked up.
Bro, I fucking love that droid.
And finally, did you know that there's actually 2 ways you can beat the Rancor? One, you could beat it as Luke, you know, the normal way of just beating him up until he goes down and then you close the gate on him. Or 2, you do the way I did it, and that's just throw shit at him the whole time. Just throw shit. And then eventually, he'll die, or he'll get stuck in the door, which happened to me. And to end off my pros, I feel like it would be nice to mention the little Easter eggs that you can find throughout the game, and then having some of those be a little bit rewarding, whether that be towards your mini kits or level challenges. All these pros that I just mentioned are similar to when I first played the game and when I recently played the game that you see here. But I feel like I should mention when I was playing on the Switch, I finished all the levels and going through the free roam. That's when the cracks and flaws for me started to show themselves. And maybe that's probably why I just stopped playing the game, because they were really noticeable and I was kind of like, it was fun while it lasted. But now let's get on to the cons. And let me just check something real quick. How long is this script now? Damn, there's a lot of cons. There's a lot for me to talk about in this video, and I feel like the best way for me to tackle on this discussion is that if I talk about the first episode I played through, which was episode 1, because I had some similar problems throughout every other episode that I did with episode 1. Then after that, I'll get into the free play, and then my experience through the free roam, and then a little bit of extra bits here and there. So let's talk about episode 1, when you get dropped into the cutscene that I talked about, and then you get dropped into the tutorial of how to fly ships in the game. Then once you board the battleship, you'll be walking with TC-14 like you've done in the games towards the negotiations room. And then once you put a few chairs back to where they are, the little gas starts coming out, and that's when you have to fight your way through the battle droids to get on that MTT to get down to Naboo. Once you're there on Naboo, you meet with Jar Jar and he takes you to the Gungan homeworld where you talk to Boss Nass. After you're done talking to Boss Nass, he's going to tell you, hey, you can use the Gungan submarine to get to Naboo to save the Queen. And then once you go through the hero panel to access the submarine, that's when the first level starts, which is pretty much you just moving up and down, left and right, dodging attacks from these gooberfish as you try to collect any mini kits or level challenges throughout the way, which last about 2.5 minutes. That's the first level. It's kind of crazy that everything you just did was not a part of the level, and then once you get onto the level, you're only there for 2.5 minutes. Kinda underwhelming. Which is also just something I would describe the prequels as. 2 words. One of those being underwhelming. Because now you have to go save the Queen and take it to the hangar bay, which is also part of the story. Once you do get to the hangar bay with the Queen, you then fly to Tatooine, you walk around for a bit until it's time for you to start the pod race, which is where I ran into my first bug actually for the game. You see, when I was first playing this level, I was about to 100% complete this level. All I needed was one more mini kit. I was on the final lap at this point and I found where the mini kit was. So as I was trying to go over there, the game was trying to pull me back. Because what I did remember from my last playthrough is that there was going to be a little quick time event to fix Anakin's pod racer. But I kid you not, right as I got on top of the mini kit, that's when that QuickTime event happened. And me playing this, I'm like, oh, I ran over it, so hopefully I did get it at least. Nope, I was right there, and I kind of want to just finish it so I don't have to play it again later on. So I exit out the level, go back to the area where I can go back into the level, and I immediately skipped the cutscene, but the game didn't like that because I was on this loading screen forever. It wouldn't go away. So I got impatient and I just X'd out the game. Then I re-entered the game and I did the same thing 2 more times and it did the same thing 2 more times. So on that 4th time, I just sat through the cutscene, got the mini kit, ended the level, and ended my day playing the game. After you're done with that level, you then head back to the ship, Darth Maul attacks, you get on Coruscant, and then you just start walking.
We're walking.
Walking?
Yep.
No, my baby, look.
See, there's a few moments in the game where it just has you walk with the character that you're talking to, which it did that back on the Trade Federation ship, but sometimes it has you walking with that character, while other times it doesn't, and you could just run past them, and then they just stop because you're not near them, and then you have to get back to them, and then you guys can keep going on. And in those moments where the game allows you to walk past the person you're talking to, there's a lot of back and forth of you just going past them, waiting for them to catch up, going past them, and waiting for them to catch up, on and on again. Then when you get to Coruscant playing as the Queen, talking to Palpatine, you're walking for just a little bit of steps towards a taxi. But honestly, the worst part of this walking gameplay is when you're on episode 2 playing as Obi-Wan and Anakin walking Padme to her apartments, and it's such a huge distance from your ship to the apartments, and you're walking forever and you can't go past it. You have to walk the same speed they're walking. You want me to walk, you don't want me to walk, pick a lane. But now you're back to Naboo for the invasion. The third level is actually the Darth Maul fight, and the action is there, baby. You're going through those battle droids, you're kicking Darth Maul's ass as you go through whatever the hell this was. And then you get to the fourth level, which is actually the Gungan battle between the battle droids, something they haven't done in the game before. So that's pretty cool. We're getting something that we haven't seen before. But just like the first level, it's pretty underwhelming. The level is pretty much you just loading up 2 catapults and then attacking some battle droids that are trying to attack the shield generator. Then you building that big catapult, then later on manning it so you can destroy the battle droids and tanks coming in to try and destroy you, you know, like in the movie. But the battle droids are getting close to the shields. They're gonna come in. You're gonna lose the level. No, they'll just disintegrate. Why? Because fuck you, that's why, I don't know. Just defeat this certain amount and then boom, the level's done. But now we get on to the final level, which is Anakin's flight to try and take down the Trade Federation battleship, which is you flying around, destroying a few things, then you get to enter the battleship, and then you get to fly around for a little bit, you land, you start shooting everything that you see on sight, and then boom, level's over. And that's actually the episode. The episode's over now. I'm not going to go in depth like I just did with episode 1 for the other episodes, and that's pretty much because my criticisms for the episodes are pretty similar for every single one. And this is where I get into what I would also describe the prequels as. Not only was it underwhelming for me, it was pretty empty. Look at these 3 examples and wonder what question I had during these moments. If you think that question was, where the fuck is everyone? You'd be correct. Honestly, you can totally say that the first 2 examples are pretty weak, but the third one, it's pretty empty until you get to that part of manning that catapult. It would have been nice if you just threw like maybe a little bit of battle droids to the side, you know, just make it feel like you're surrounded or something like that, or just add more battle droids coming into the shield and trying to destroy the shield generator, or maybe just have some stakes, because I had it where they destroy the shield generator and nothing happens. Honestly, I feel like it's a bigger criticism for the prequels because there's just so much action-packed and huge moments in the prequels. Look at the first level of episode 2. It's pretty much very similar to the first level of episode 1, but then you finally get to see people when you go through that tunnel system. It's literally just you moving the mouse around, holding down the left mouse button to shoot until the health goes all the way down. And I want to point out this missed opportunity as well on that level, where you could have had a level challenge be you going through that purple fence. But no, that actually stops you from completing an actual level challenge, which is to not get hit or run into any buildings at all. But if you want like the #1 example for how empty this game feels, look no further than the Geonosian Arena. And I mean, look at the Geonosian Arena. There's nobody here. They've done this level 3 times now, and somehow the recent one is the weakest one out of this. And in both of these, you have swarms of battle droids and Geonosians coming at you to attack you. In the Skywalker Saga, you get yourself free, and then you could just fight any monster you want in any order. Then after you're done defeating all 3 monsters, you then get to fight against Jango Fett. Boom, the level's over. There's 2 others that I would just want to briefly mention as well, being the landing on Kashyyyk and the battle on Utapau against General Grievous. There's like little to no clones and droids in these moments, and it just feels so empty. Original trilogy, you're working with like a smaller and simpler budget when those movies came out, so it doesn't feel as empty. Just to name one, probably the one that was most empty was the battle on Hoth. Also, I want to mention something. Look at this clone trooper. Now look at this snow trooper. Now look at this First Order Stormtrooper. Same walk pattern. They're walking in like a battle or just a state of emergency. And 2, it's the same walk cycle. Come on. As for examples on the sequels, I would say probably the battle between that trooper on Takodana, and I would also say that ending of the Captain Phasma fight on episode 8 that I just previously mentioned with these walking troopers. And what's crazy is that almost all of these levels have in common is that they were either battles or during boss fights. And honestly, if the levels showing the epic battles or boss fights are pretty empty or underwhelming, that's not a good thing. Another thing I want to mention is the pacing on these episodes being so freaking fast. Because of how big the game is, it wants you to get through all 9 episodes as fast as possible, I guess. So it feels like the game is just grabbing by the hand and blitzing forward like it's just some high-speed chase. The only reason why it's taken me about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to finish an episode is because I'm busy exploring everything. But if I don't do that, it's pretty freaking quick. I went back to play episode 1 again again, but this time without exploring like I did the first time, and I completed it in half the time I did that previous time. Like, look how I talked about episode 1. Wait a minute, I just forgot about something. They skipped the retaking of the palace. It's in a cutscene. Again, game's really big and a few things had to get cut because of just how huge the game was. But you're skipping so many big moments. They could have done something really cool for the story because it wouldn't work as a level where you as Padme, Panaka, and a couple of guards are storming the palace to retake it back, but you have battle droids slowly approaching on you, and the game won't let you run up to the battle droids and beat them up because that will be too easy. And if the battle droids get too close, womp womp, you gotta restart that part again. After you defeat a certain amount or push them back far enough, then you have that one moment where Panaka blasts out that window, and then Padme, Panaka, and a few guards this time then go up to the next level and repeat that thing, only now you only have a few guards and you have more battle droids coming because you have less guards trying to shoot them. And then you do that for a little bit longer and then you play that cutscene. That's my take of how that could have gone down if you tried it. But I think the biggest disappointment for me that they didn't include was the part where Palpatine is getting arrested. You know, that one scene where Mace Windu with 3 other Jedi go to arrest Palpatine only for him to fight back, and then it ends with Anakin unarming Mace Windu and completing his path to the dark side? Cutscene. It's a cutscene. They also did this with the Battle of Coruscant, the part that you have like flying around and shit. They don't do that either. That's just a cutscene. Albeit, there's a funny moment, but there could have been something action-packed that you could have done in there, and then you have that funny moment in the cutscene. Not only that, but Order 66, that's a cutscene too. The part where everyone dies is a cutscene, which is fair. You can have that as a cutscene. Could have shown the 501st storming the Jedi Temple just better. Or you could have had Obi-Wan and Yoda storming the Jedi Temple to retake it back and revert that code message better. But no, that's a cutscene. That's all a cutscene. And it kinda sucks. It kinda feels very underwhelming. Just make me feel like something in this story or levels is building up to some big bad action, because I'm not feeling that. Going back to the Zam Wesell fight, it's kinda crazy how in the complete saga they would be able to do this much more better than they were in the Skywalker Saga, a game that's much more recent and has much better technology. But no, you're just going straight at a very slow paced speed as you here and there do slight movements like listing lazily to the left. Insert Family Guy joke, I just had to. Wait a minute, Jocasta Nu? You're still alive? What are you doing here, you son of a bitch? Didn't you know that there was a Jedi genocide that just took place here? If you're trying to make me feel immersed in this game, maybe, just maybe, get rid of anything that has to do with the free roam, like the missions, because it's like, oh my god, the Jedi Temple, it's ravaged, it's got taken over, and then Jocasta Nu's just chilling. I like to play it going in order from 1 to 9. And starting off with the prequels, I was expecting so much more. So seeing them not deliver in an area I was really hoping for in the gameplay and experience just sucks. I think that's enough talking about the prequels for right now, so let's move on to the original trilogy, where I had a much better experience playing through. There's no other way of how you can start episode 4 without it being the boarding of the Tantive. It just depended on if they were going to do it a story or a level. And in the original trilogy, you're playing as mostly blaster characters throughout the whole thing, and the blaster fights can be fun, and that's a big can with a little strain at the voice like I just did right now, so it can be fun. I didn't feel like running up and beating up the troopers most of the time, as that would just take longer in case they even blocked. To make it quicker, I just went for headshots the whole time, and if you just shoot anywhere else, they're just going to take forever to die. And you can go into the core upgrades to upgrade the strength of your blasters, but then that makes the game too easy. But it makes it more fun if you're playing as Cad Bane or Sabine Wren, and you have the Bounty Hunter upgrade where the scatter shot is upgraded to the max, and then you just have this.
Fight back! Fight back!
I'd probably say my favorite level in the original trilogy, and actually the whole game in general, being the last level on episode 5 between Luke and Vader on Bespin. It was also funny beating the shit out of Vader as R2, and the fight felt different because it was, wait a minute, throwing his saber, ground pound, charge attack, choking me and flailing his saber around like a madman. These are the same movements as every other lightsaber boss fight. Other than the intermission between the fights, they're pretty much the same thing. What's at least nice about the episode 5 Vader fight is that whenever you're doing the button mashing parts, it's different compared to the other ones, but other than that, it's the same fight. It makes those previous fights feel less special because again, it's the same movements as every other one. But not only that, but do you remember in the complete saga how you can cheese a boss fight by just jump slashing or ground pounding? Well, in the Skywalker Saga, you just back away from it and then you just throw the lightsaber until he blocks or gets stunned, and then you do some little sweaty cheesy combo. But guess what? I found another way to cheese it. Remember when I talked about Cad Bane and Sabine causing absolute mayhem with their blasters? Just used them on the bosses as well. I will say it's gonna take a little bit longer with the lightsaber characters, but it is still an effective method. But say for like a non-lightsaber character, say like the Fets or Jabba or the Rancor, easy money. You don't even have to use Sabine or Cad Bane. You could just use any blaster character for that matter. Now as for the sequels, Claude. In all seriousness, the sequels were okay. They're working with the best they can because the sequels were pretty garbage. So A for effort is definitely what I'll give them. They're working with the best they got. It wasn't bad, it wasn't good, but it was playable. Kind of. What's weird is that in the sequels, I encountered the most bugs and glitches that I did throughout my whole time playing this. And I'm gonna be honest, my notes for the sequels suck. So I thought for this part, I just mentioned the glitches and highlights I had throughout playing this sequel. Starting with, oops, cover's blown. Guess I gotta restart the level. Why did you make me target this guy? He wasn't even that close. Time to do some more flying. Never mind, probably for the best. Do you like to climb around to gather specific shit scattered everywhere? This guy is blocking my shots. Is he Wonder Woman? This was a level. Thank you for not making this part into a level again. Why can't I shoot any lower? Curse you, old age and pot. Oh, look. This guy's back as a boss fight again. Up in the air he goes, and that's the end of the fight. Got him. Wait, we're done with Takodana already? This was a level 2. Why is my lightsaber not turning on? This is how most of the fight went. Boy, Finn's pretty good at holding a lightsaber. I'd say to use, but you know. There's my teleportation staff. Lightsaber smack. How did I die here? Lightsaber smack. How did I die here too? And let's finish it off with more lightsaber smacks. They did the shirtless Kylo Ren meme. Time to fight some Canto Bite boys. Done. Best joke in the game. This was a level thrice. Walking simulator featuring elderly Luke Skywalker. Honestly, this was a really nice part of the game because of how unique it was compared to everything else. No way. A Luke Skywalker boss fight?
Stop this! Luke, I
didn't even hit him at the end. I have to stay walking even if I want to destroy stuff here? This was a funny level if you didn't just go straight. You guys just gonna walk around aimlessly in a ship that's burning down as I attempt to escape? Didn't have to move around a boss fight. Okay, this level took about like 5 minutes. Lego video game parkour, but I get help from the game. This whole cutscene glitched out for me for some reason, where it was playing it fine, then all of a sudden, it went back to start the cutscene over again, but with no dialogue, no audio, no nothing, just complete silence. What the fuck? Now we're running with elderly Luke Skywalker as a ghost, but don't go too far away. He may be a ghost, but he's still old as shit. And finally, space horses. It was definitely a mixed bag and a lot of ups and downs as I went through every single episode. But if I was also to say something about the episodes, it's that they're not too memorable. They're cutscenes, they are, but the level itself, not really. Though in its defense, I haven't played it as much as any of the other Lego Star Wars games or any Lego game in general. And yeah, there were some levels that I did like, but not to the point of where I want to come back to it or be excited to replay it again, whether that be through the story or the free play. Speaking of free play, that's what I'm going to talk about now. My notes on free play kind of went like this. It went from me saying it's a mess, then it went from me saying it's not fun, and then it went from me saying JK, I don't like this at all. For like the average Lego game experience, I had to go through the level at least twice. Once through story and then once through free play, and maybe a third time if I accidentally forgot a collectible in my initial free play. But here, I had to go through it way more times than I thought of and that I would have liked to have gone through, and most of the time, I felt like it wasn't my fault whenever I missed a collectible. I did mention earlier how I unfortunately lost my initial playthrough going through free play, and what sucks about that is that in that footage, I am the most frustrated playing this game. Going through episode 1, it was okay, nothing really to mention or complain about. You can't switch your vehicle on certain missions, which kind of ruins the purpose of free play. After that, I then went on to the first level of episode 4, and somehow I got lost. You see, the mini kit and level challenge I needed was behind this door that I could have accessed if I had a character or a hero character going through story mode. And I couldn't go forward because if I went forward, I wasn't going to be able to get the mini kit and I wasn't able to get the level challenge because player 2 was with me as well. And that's what gets to my biggest frustration that I have with free play. You cannot backtrack. There's no clear checkpoints. You're in one room the whole time unless there's like a cutscene that happens, then you get taken to probably another area of the map. Thankfully, when I went back to that level to get some footage, I actually was able to retrace my steps properly. Not only that, but player 2 didn't follow me the whole way down there. But the same can't be said for the first level in episode 7. I had to take this underground route to get to the hangar bay because I needed it for a level challenge. Then I go through it and I show that, oh, it's the first order TIE fighter that I have to get on. But I'm like, wait, I still have collectibles I need to get to back that way. And I know I can't go through the other 2 ways that it would have allowed me to go through because I didn't take that way. That's fair. So then let me go back through that underground route where I can retrace my steps and then go get those mini kits and level challenges if there's any. Nope, can't do that. It just closes it up, doesn't explain why, it just closes. Can't backtrack anymore. In story mode, I didn't have a situation where I needed to backtrack because that's not my goal. My goal in the story mode is to complete the level, then later on in free play, I can try and go back and collect it. But what's also worse is that not only does the UI stink, but the heads up display sucks. When you're trying to find a collectible in like the older games, it would show you like an arrow pointing at it saying, hey, there's a collectible here, you should go get it. And so you're like, okay, I need to get these collectibles before I move on. In the Skywalker Saga, it's a blue glowing circle that basically is telling you, hey, there's a collectible here in this level, good luck. It doesn't change in size at all to show you, hey, you're getting warm, you're getting cold, and sometimes it doesn't show up. And you're thinking, oh, what about the map in the bottom left corner? That sucks too. For one, I don't even pay attention to the map most of the time because it's kind of just there, and almost all the time I can get it without using the map. But whenever I do rely on the map, it's not helping me out either. For example, on the last level of episode 3, why is it having me go down this hallway when actually I just need to go back to where I started and then go straight ahead this way? Because let me tell you, it doesn't take me to that mini kit when I go that way. And the NPCs in this game are so dumb. You see, I was on the Geonosian arena and I had to man this Geonosian turret to shoot these 5 things that was in the crowd. And then once I did that, I'd get the mini kit. But the problem is that Barriss Offee kept fucking destroying it. And I don't even know why she was destroying it. The game didn't program anybody using it. It was just there for the mini kit. So that whole time I'm just trying to hop on and shoot as fast as I can before she destroys it, or it's just mostly like hopping on, getting it destroyed, hopping on, aiming, getting it destroyed, hopping on, aiming it, not being able to aim it high enough actually, and then she just destroys it again. Honestly, you know what? Fuck you, Barriss. Tales of the Empire was mid anyways. And also, I'm not a big fan of the level challenges either in this game. And because the game is so big and they decided that they wanted to cut down the minikit number from 10 to 5, they must have thought, hey, we gotta figure out something to replace the 5 minikits we took away. What if we do 3 level challenges? This is the worst one. On the second level of episode 2, where you're flying around with Jango Fett, you have to do one of these level challenges where you have to avoid the seismic charge. If you get hit, you cannot do that level challenge anymore, and you have to restart that whole level again. It sounds easy enough, right? That's what I thought, right? Whoever made the hitbox for the charges is a sadistic person. I just want to point that out. The only way to know if you got hit by the seismic charge is that if your shields go from 100 to 0 instantly. And thankfully, I was able to recreate this without even trying to recreate it. How odd. You see? Look at it. You're watching, you're watching, you're watching, and it's popped. It's popped. How is this a hit? How is this a hit? I wasn't on it. I wasn't near it. I wasn't near enough to be like, yeah, you were kind of close to it. I'm just saying it is a light estimate that I had to do it more than 5 times. And the last run I did that I finally got the level challenge was when I finally switched the ship to what's weird is a bigger ship, the Falcon, and I got it. But the way I had to get it is I had to play very conservatively, and I had to play it in a not fun way. Just kind of coasting around the level or just going through different ways, just slowly turning around to go back. That's not fun. You know what I've been stalling on talking about this entire video? The flying. Because it sucks in this game. But I will say, unlike the Switch, the flying is fine. Though on the Switch and PC, the flying is both pretty lame. But it's good on the Switch. Whereas on the PC, I literally have to pick up my mouse and drag it and then pick it up again to go where I want to go. And then if I pick it up too long, then it just starts drifting for a bit until like I start shaking my mouse vigorously to stop doing that. Mind you, I have the camera and aim sensitivity at the highest peak. So what am I doing wrong? Is it just like that on the PC? Now let's move on to episode 4, that 3rd level I was talking about. The 3 level challenges you had to do there was to be a scoundrel character and shoot these lamps to crash onto the prison guards. The other one was to cut off the console panel mid-communication. And the 3rd level is that you had to go through it without causing a scene. Reading off the tips and tricks for that challenge on Steam, it's you follow the golden markers, don't crush anything, don't kill anyone on your way to the prison block, don't do anything that can engage enemy troopers, and then the challenge will pop after the lift. So now let's go through it like this. I had to play it through once already in story mode, and during that I didn't get any of the level challenges because I didn't know the freaking tips and tricks I needed to do to get the level challenge. And now I got to get the level challenges, and they're pretty much story mode only, which why? Thankfully, 2 out of the 3 of those level challenges, the one about the console panels and the lamp with the scoundrel, you can do in the same run. And now you gotta play it a 3rd time to get that 3rd level challenge, the one about not breaking anything. And now that you've played it a 3rd time, you have to play it a 4th time again to get all the mini kits. But taking all the little mess ups that I got throughout the way, I had to play this level at least 7 times. Granted, one of those was definitely my fault because I just thought, hey, maybe they're not gonna sound the alarm. They did. But still, playing through that level 6 to 7 times, I don't want to do that. That doesn't sound like fun. Not only that, I'm not gonna remember that level in a positive look. That's enough free play. Let's just go on to the free roam, which it's fine. A lot of the things are copy and paste, like the missions that I had to do in space. But honestly, for a game that has 1,200 kyber bricks you need to collect, I'm not surprised that a lot of them are repeats. But I will just point out one of them that I thought was a goofy and fun one, being this one on Camino where I had to defeat this blue monkey clone uprising. And now, while the characters are cool, the character classes, they're kind of meh. They made the character classes sound much more cooler than it was in the trailers, and then when I actually played it, I'm like, it's okay. But for the classes, once you get all the core upgrades and a few other upgrades here and there, whether that be to access the panels quicker or just to shoot like the bounty hunter blasters more, you're done. You don't really need to collect any more. It will make the game easier, but it's not really necessary. You could live without it. Jedi and Sith characters are mostly the same, and for scoundrels, you barely really use them or know when to use them. They're not that necessary, honestly. Mostly for the free play, but open world, not really. For the bounty hunters, you just really need Sabine, Cad Bane, or one of the Fets to get through the whole game, because other than that, they're just not as useful. For the heroes, you just need them for the hero panels because bounty hunters can also use grappling. For the villains, you only need them for the grenades and the villain panels that also the Sith can do as well. Protocol droids, you're just using them for the protocol panels. You could use them for these small components to disassemble them, but the BB-8 astromech units can do these as well. And those, they're just the panels as well. They can't fly. They got nerfed. Scavenger class is kind of just there. It's in that middle ground of useful, but like you're not gonna stay as a scavenger character all the time or really need it as much. And then extras, I wish they just did something fun for them instead of them just being like, oh, you could play as Claude, Jabba, and Rancor, and they're different. Maybe just sprinkle in some of that other like hero or villain thing in there. Maybe combine them. Why not? But like I said, they don't have really anything to make them stand out or be more of like, hey, you should use this character, except for like some of them that I previously mentioned, like the bounty hunter ones. For Sith, it doesn't matter what kind of Sith you use. And for Jedi, same thing. Same thing for Scoundrel, Extra, Scavenger, Hero, Villain. I mean, there's freaking Grievous under Villain. But now let's get into something that people were pretty upset that they didn't include, being the custom character creation. The custom character creation has been around since Star Wars 2 with the original trilogy releasing, and it's been a staple ever since till this point. And they're like, oh, it's a big game. But honestly, in the big game, this big Star Wars game, the big boy, this is the one where you had to put in the custom character creation. And I'm a guy that doesn't really use the custom character creation as much as anyone else, but I do understand why people are upset. But I feel like the only way to end this criticism is to talk about what you get when you 100% complete the game. What you do is that you go to Yavin 4 and you go into this little area. And in this little area, there's some iconic Star Wars characters surrounded by a lever. You go pull that lever, and once you do, boom, confetti happens and a stud rain comes out. Because boom, you completed the game. So more studs. Look, it's a fun game and it's actually got me to play the game again. I just finished the free play and now I'm trying to finish the full-on game. I'm at like what, 60-65% right now, and thanks to this video I'm glad I get to replay it again. But I will state that there are many flaws, many missed opportunities, and many frustration with this game. If you're someone 2 years later that hasn't bought the game yet and is still on the fence about, hey, maybe I want to try it out, I'd say I'd recommend it. Maybe wait for it to go on sale or something, or buy it in person, because I know in person it's like what, 25, 30. Hopefully someday I do 100% complete the game, but once I do, I don't see myself picking up this game again unless I'm playing with like a friend or I just want to look back at it again for some reason. I can definitely say it's not the best Lego game by a long shot. It's not even top 5, definitely top 10. But like it's probably, I don't know, 7? If I was to give a score for the game, it actually would be a 7 out of 10. Actually, after playing it a little bit more, going through the free roam, I'm actually going to lower it to a 6, maybe a 6.5. But hopefully if you stuck around through this whole video, you can now understand why I think Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga is a fun, yet very frustrating game. But that's all I'm gonna end this video as well. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy. Let me know if you agree or disagree with what I had to say, or even voice your own opinions or experience while playing this game. Also subscribe, as that will put a smile on my face. Now if you'll excuse me, I need to go watch some Lego ASMR building videos with max volume. But yeah. Okay, bye.